Okay, what's up, gamers? We got a bit of a different hat. I feel like maybe retiring the cowboy hat, but we'll see. You know, we had the cowboy major, as it were, and in the last outing for Pick'ems. But it is that time of the season. It's rolled around pretty quickly. I'm not gonna lie. I think maybe because we've got like a longer um, major period, like all the teams just being immediately invited, all this sort of stuff. There's not been as much build up, so it feels like it's come about a little sooner and a little more abruptly. But we're here for it. The Budapest Major, of course. I'm going to be there. Maybe if you are also going to be there, let me know. We can say hello. But yeah, it's going to be a good time. But the games, we're into stage one, of course. Just to give you guys a little highlight of how things go. Direct invites for stage one and stage two. Pretty stacked. A lot of teams in this one. So yeah, very much looking forward to getting into it. But it's about time to do it. It's about time to get the video made. So let's lock in. Now, looking down the list, we have some notable names. We've got Fnatic. You know, they did my boy Cypher a little dirty, but we've got Fnatic. We've got FaZe Clan. We've got the likes of NIP, maybe, if you want to go down the list of really well-known organizations. But teams like Gamer Legion, teams like Legacy at the moment, who've been looking pretty good, to be fair, and seemingly performing very, very well on LAN after their run at the Austin Major. You know, there's been kind of a gap. And then all of a sudden, as we're getting into the Major, they're getting excited again. They've started performing well at the past couple tournaments they've been at. So, few very cool teams here. Let's have a look. The easy ones to go for in terms of, let's go 3-0 to kick it off, right? Money where the mouth is and all that good stuff. Taking a bit of a hit, few moves here and there, maybe not hit the ground in the way that they would have wanted, but I'm still pretty confident in FaZe in a group like this. Can you rely on FaZe to be consistent? Maybe I'll change my mind a little bit as soon as I've thrown them in there. You know, they're always a team that make it harder for themselves than it needs to be. But, yeah. 3-0 for now. Speed running ever so slightly here. Who else do I like the look of? Legacy, maybe. It's a form pick. They're going to have the same run again? I don't know. So I feel like another that would make a bit of sense. Maybe Gamer Legion. It's kind of tough because we have some teams in here that are obviously good and compete with the big boys on a regular basis. Maybe their RMR, their VRS points are not quite as solid as they would have liked come lock-in time, so they've not quite skipped to stage 2. You know, there's a couple teams here, of course, the likes of Passion UA maybe, Team Liquid maybe, Aurora maybe, Astralis, like, you know, they feel like teams that could have been beaten out by a couple of the logos here, but just not the way that the lock-in went. Gamer Legion, no, I like them. Again, kind of hit or miss. It's a tough one to call 3-0 wise. That's all I'm going to say. That's the only excuse. In terms of who's going through, man, it's a great question. You know, all these 4 teams here, absolutely. Pyrovision, been making waves in Tier 2. Lin Vision looked decent on the international stage more recently. We maybe have someone like Rare Atom or the Huns. These Asian teams are really starting to pick up their individuality at the very least. And maybe one of the NA boys here as well could potentially squeak through. I will look at Legacy. I will look at Bait. And we'll go over these. So Legacy, like I say, solid run of form at the moment. In a couple of tournaments, and I think, again, given the excitement of it all, they can get behind the major pretty nicely. Then, of course, we got Bait, also looking really good at the moment. Maybe not quite as strong of a run of form as Legacy. Excuse me. But I think they have had some decent results this year. When there's like teams like this, they'll generally perform well. It's sort of competing against the bigger boys that they've just not impressed all that much, unfortunately. Maybe that's something that they will change. Is it going to be at this tournament? Don't know. But in a stage like this, I'm fairly confident that they should be able to make it through. I want to put the Fnatic team in. So I do want to put them in. I just had to have a double check, I suppose, with the way that like the lock-in works. Cypher's not playing in the major. But he did, I believe, get a sticker. Yeah, so just double checked. He did get a sticker. So just, yeah, checking whether he's going to be playing and making doubly. Sure, always fact check yourself, guys. That's a good lesson to be learned. Still going to put him in. I think they've looked okay for my money. That being said, they have lost to a couple of teams in here recently. So it's tough. They're one I'd maybe put like here. You know what I mean? If we're doing like an order of confidence. Then I got to put NIP in, I think, just with the run of players that they have. Sure, they've not had the invites. They've not had as many reps and whatnot, but that's slowly getting rectified. And something like this, the major and everything, good opportunity for them to take some like matchup points and get some LAN points and things like this that could be very valuable into next year. Beyond that, it gets a little harder, really. I like Paravision making waves in the tier 2. Like I say, there is a mission within that team. The boy James, of course. I mean, bringing up a few young players as you look across it, right? This is a team that for a while had some more notable names, some more well-known names, either within the space or maybe even to, you know, higher level viewers, as it were. But more recently, the past year or so, maybe even just the past 6 months, actually, yeah, like double checking here, some very young players that are turning some heads. Zello, I think in particular, or Zelo, maybe you say it, looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. So I think a team to watch. A bit of a dark horse into like stage 2, potentially. Next team, honestly, it's probably between these two. I think I'd probably have to go Lin Vision just because they excite me a bit more. No offense to the Aussies and FlyQuest, but I think that, you know, they're potentially a team that could squeeze in. Someone like Legacy might fall off. How consistent are they really? We're kind of about to find out, I suppose. Paravision, Lin Vision, lots of visions. Maybe it's just like Freudian in my head. And Fnatic as well. All those three teams, I think, could easily get pipped to the post by a team like FlyQuest. So they would be my next up. Imperial maybe kind of joining them a little as well. In terms of the O3s, I want to go Fluxo. I'm a little bit of a Fluxo hater. No offense to them necessarily, but I think we have a few of the like rejects type thing that have maybe got the talent but not quite the hard work, or they just can't quite crack into the higher level. So they do well in the tier 2 of Brazil and South America. Win a few online cups here and there and of the sort, but again, they just don't quite excite me. And yeah, I'm just not a fan of the art style. I think it sort of has to die a little bit, and you just watch him in a game, make a decision or whatever, and it's like, come on, man. You know you're like better than this, but he just has this stubbornness to his approach. And then, honestly, I don't know. The Huns against International, I don't quite know what to expect of them. I think the pressure gets to them sometimes. We've seen that a few times. Red Canids, like, what can I say about this team, really? Not much. NRG, sort of similar for me. I don't want too much hate on one region, so I'd probably go the Huns. Just to sort of spread the hate evenly. You know, different hemispheres, I guess. Is that right? Is that a hemisphere? Is that way hemisphere? Is that way hemisphere? I don't know. The region? Continent? Spread the hate. Spread the hate. Across continents, not digging myself a bit of a hole here. But you know what I'm saying. Alright, I'm just trying to look for an angle to pick in. But this is what I'm going with, guys. Nothing too crazy or too exciting about stage 1, I think, unfortunately. And this is a case to be made for the widening of the major. We might revisit that, but there's only a handful of matchups, I think, here that are really going to turn some heads, that are really going to get people interested. But we'll see. Upsets galore, maybe. That's what the major's usually all about. But that'll do us for this one. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.